And we say greetings, this is Kabanka Pyramid representing the Lion Voice blog. Make sure that them check it out and stay tuned. See? Rastafari blessings every time.
Greetings, I'm Sister Aisha Diana Conwood, currently the Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time for the lioness to roar. You know, this is the lion's voice. Lioness, let's roar, lion pour.
Today's program, we are going into Africa rising, Babylon falling. As I blot this sound today, we are on the brink of a global war. What am I talking about? The Israel Air Force bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, killing top-ranking Iranian generals. This is an act of war under international law, under all the international conventions. Iran sent threat. They were waiting to the end of Ramadan. Ramadan is finished. As I am speaking, Hezbollah, which is closely aligned to Iran that dwell in Lebanon, has been raining missiles on Israel. The whole world breath is waiting for Iran to respond and what that's going to look like. Israel has already said once Iran respond that they are going to respond forward. America has already said their support for Israel is ironclad and they will also retaliate. Iran has to send a message. They have to respond because someone bombed them on their turf, which is the embassy in opposition to international law. So it's just a matter of time. You know, the item may have watched it long after things transpire. Just know that in this moment that this is being recorded, that is the reality that faces creation. This is going to cause global collapse of the shipping lanes, the price of gas. It's going to exacerbate the inflation that's currently taking place in the West, where the fiat currencies in the West are losing their value. This is going to accelerate all of these factors, making it very difficult for the people in the West. We know that there will be a solution, aka the mark of the beast. You cannot buy or sell. You need some help. Come and get the chip now. We love you. These are going to be the tactics. We saw the test run, aka COVID-19, took place. Again, I don't want to get too deep into that part there. Just know that we're watching.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. Yeah, I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces, good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth, worldwide. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine, ready to bust. I'ma give you when things get dangerous. No, in the ghetto things get dangerous. On the battlefield things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scandalous. Lost them put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones to...
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Wazira Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man, a creative industry attorney. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network, and welcome to the Lion's Voice, where We are cultivating Rastafari family for a prosperous Rastafari future. You see, I have modified the tagline. I used to say the Rastafari man as we cultivate a prosperous Rastafari future. However, we've been getting a lot more engagement from the sister in them, a lot more content for the sister in them, so we have to expand it to the Rastafari family to lead a prosperous Rastafari future, because this is an uprising that we are engaged in here on the second largest search engine on the planet, YouTube. Today's program, we are going into Africa rising, Babylon falling. As I blot this sound today, we are on the brink of a global war. What am I talking about? The Israel Air Force bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, killing top-ranking Iranian generals. This is an act of war under international law, under all the international conventions. Iran sent threat. They were waiting to the end of Ramadan. Ramadan is finished. As I am speaking, Hezbollah, which is closely aligned to Iran that dwell in Lebanon, has been raining missiles on Israel. The whole world breath is waiting for Iran to respond, and what that's going to look like. Israel has already said once Iran respond that they are going to respond forward. America has already said their support for Israel is ironclad, and they will also retaliate. Iran has to send a message. They have to respond because someone bombed them on their turf, which is the embassy, in opposition to international law. So it's just a matter of time. You know, the item may have watched it long after things transpire. Just know that in this moment that this is being recorded, that is the reality that faces creation. And this is one of the things that I'm going to get into in terms of why Babylon is falling, why Africa is rising. This is a prophetic time. This is the type of content that we touch from time to time here on the Lion Voice Network, because one of the things that Rastafari has always done since the earliest was look at geopolitics and interpret it according to biblical prophecy, other prophecies, where come forward. So we don't want to lose that essence, the reasoning that we used to have with our elders who used to tell us to look forward to these times, mark of the beast. We're going to talk about some of the developments that are happening. They're planning to microchip little babies in Kenya. They're implementing their microchip plan led by Bill Gates. Whole heap of things are going on earth. If you're watching, if you have eyes to see, it really is like a movie happening right now. And because of that, I as Rastafari have to prepare. We have to make sure that we're making preparations. We're getting ready to endure what is going to be a rough time on earth as they plunge the earth into this Armageddon war that has been prophesied in the Bible. Jerusalem being destroyed, the Al-Aqsa Mosque being destroyed. You know, they have so much plans that it's not going to end well, people. And for everyone, because I have some brethren that don't think it's that serious. For everyone thinking that this is not going to continue to escalate, I really feel sorry, because you have to know what time it is on the clock. The baby boomers are getting ready to expire. They're old people, and they've been planning, accumulating wealth to implement these things their whole life. It's now or never. That is the scenario that we find ourselves in, and that is why the times are so dangerous, and that is why we have to be on one accord in terms of how we move forward. So today we're talking about 5 reasons that Babylon is falling, 5 reasons why Africa is rising. So stay tuned. Get your ital snack, get your ital sip. We are going into the reasoning. Before we touch the reasoning though, let me just big up LIDJ, Ramia King Design. Get your tumbler. Tap in with LIDJ. It's festival season, so if you're in the DMV, any other festival, then you will see LIDJ booth. Make sure you go forward, support him, tell him that the Lion Voice send you. Just go up to LIDJ and say Lion Voice, and purchase. Let us circulate the Rastafari dollar. Big up CMAS Life, Wally Kings, Entertainment, all of the sponsors who see the vision of what we're trying to do here, building Rastafari independent media, and who are supporting not only with talk but with the dollars, because again, we want to build the capacity, we want to be able to hire editors. Let me just say before I get into the topic, it's not easy working full time, editing videos, doing interviews, booking guests, the whole gambit, and operation. It's very satisfying, don't get that wrong, because when you're following your purpose as a man, regardless of how heavy the load, you have to shoulder it and move forward, because you have the vision. Only the eye can carry it out. So once you're on your purpose, and to be honest, it don't feel like work because of the passion and knowing where we want to take it. However, it is something that cannot be done alone, and so the item may hear from I, get a call, you may get a newsletter. Just take the time, read, support, give a listening ear, because we are about to press gas. And big up to everyone who has been supporting the movement. We are growing 2,400 plus. We are on the cusp of 2,500 subscribers. Yes, that is a small channel, but for I and I who have been on this journey from early, it is a great achievement. So I want to just big up all of the Lion Pride on Patreon. Big up yourself, Mama Haile, one of our newest members, a sister I've known almost 30 years, coming on board. Big up Daughter Aini, sister I've known almost 20 years, coming on board. The family, the trumpet is sounding and the family is seeing the work, and they are coming and supporting. I have to just, big up Freeway Dread, all of the Lion Pride on Patreon, Empress Danielle, all of the community that we're building. I really have to just have an attitude of gratitude for the item, not only subscribing to the platform, but investing the $5, the $10, the $25 that the item have invested. Just finished major interview. We're gonna be dropping a major interview on the platform with a big artist. I'm on Superpowers, the network. We know most of the artists, and who we don't know, we're one phone call away from. So we're gonna start to bring in the artist, the creative side. I purposely did not start the channel that way because I really wanted to highlight some of our Rastafari family that don't get the highlight, that have been doing the work, that have been preserving the integrity of I and I in the streets, that anywhere I and I trod, we still get that respect because they're the ones them who are the unsung warriors who, keep the liberty high, that even inspire the artists, that the artists can chant. So, but now this is a Rastafari platform, Pan-African platform, so we're going to start bringing in some of those names on the network. All right, family. I just want to big up Peacemaker, big up Bongo James, Priest Douglas, Priest Tim. Reach out to let I know that he has a bus and that he is looking for anyone who have an engine where him can use in the bus, so he can link the eye. Some business can go on. I'm gonna put up a picture of the bus, what the brethren need, and again, we want this platform to be useful to the community. Let us know if you love them type of thing where we can provide that service for ones who are looking to connect with other ones, we'll do it for free for a time, and then there will be a cost, but that is something else that we can provide, because as Rastafari people, we want to go to our family first before we go outside, and we know that we are so resourceful, and most of I and I have these large networks that we can solve most of our problems. So contact Priest Tim if you're interested in strengthening the brethren exchange barter. Anything can go on, but this is what's happening. And the brethren does a lot of works with the bus. It's his personal bus, but when things are going and peacemaker and need to reach a space, the brethren is always willing to give us strength. So if anyone can give us strength, again, link the brethren. Blessed love. If you're not subscribed to the platform, subscribe to the platform where we're dropping some big interview. For the Lion Pride on Patreon, we have DJ Cool Herc, Sister Cindy Campbell, the father of hip hop and the first lady of hip hop, Jamaican born. We have them exclusive interview on the channel, exclusive footage from their Hip Hop 50 event here in Washington, D.C. they did last year. I will put it up on the Patreon, exclusive content. I don't feel like I'm going to release it. It was recorded as a promo for the event that we were going to have forward last year. The event didn't happen. We're still considering doing something, but we don't have anything definite. So them thing that does sit on hard drive, we're putting it on the Patreon for the Lion Pride on Patreon family. So those feast exclusive content, the father of hip hop, legendary DJ Cool Herc, for the items. So we give thanks, and again, this is our honor and our privilege to bring this topic. What's the topic? Babylon falling, Africa rising. Now let's get into the topic. All right, so 5 reasons why Babylon falling. Rule number 1, or reason number 1, this war in the Middle East is one of the reasons that we know Babylon falling. Why? Babylon is getting desperate, to implement what they're doing. I can't go into full detail because I don't want to get shadow banned. I don't want to, the algorithm, you say certain things, and I'm gonna do some more in-depth. If you love the geopolitics and the prophecy and them type of reasons, I'm gonna be doing more of that on the Patreon, behind the paywall, so we don't get knocked off of YouTube. But the item know what going. There's an unholy allegiance that is happening. Satan, look in the Bible, all of the references to Satan and certain thing and certain something. The item know what going, but we're seeing it. Reports in the news that artificial intelligence is being used to determine kill sheets, the kill list in the Middle East being determined by artificial intelligence, if that is not devilish. So we see the devalue of human life happening before our eyes in living color, in ways that, for those of I and I who are watching science fiction movie, we're not too surprised, because we were reading this and watching this from way back in the 80s, and now we see it, computer, a pick target and a kill man. This is what's happening right now on Earth. But these things, again, are indicative of the desperation, the decline, the loss of moral integrity, that we are seeing as ones become consumed by revenge, hatred, all of these emotions that have welled up, that the adversary uses to manipulate the hearts of mankind. We're seeing it in living color. And as I said, once Iran retaliates for the attack on their consulate, which they have to, this is a foregone conclusion, Israel will retaliate, bringing in the United States. This is going to cause global collapse of the shipping lanes, the price of gas. It's going to exacerbate the inflation that's currently taking place in the West, where the fiat currencies in the West are losing their value. This is going to accelerate all of these factors, making it very difficult for the people in the West. We know that there will be a solution, aka the mark of the beast. You cannot buy or sell. You need some help. Come and get the chip now. We love you. These are going to be the tactics. We saw the test run, aka COVID-19, took place. Again, I don't want to get too deep into that part there. Just know that we're watching. And again, we'll do more in-depth on the Patreon. We want to kind of preserve this YouTube platform so we don't get, and we may have said too much already, but we have to let the people them know that this is where we are. Keep your eye on the Middle East. That's number one. So number two is the war in Ukraine. War in Europe, Eastern Europe. Why? Well, first of all, the loss of life, devastating. The book of Daniel talks about, the forces that rise against I and I being like clay and mud and these things. Iron and clay, they don't cleave together, so they come together in a union. Click up G7, big things are going. Now that thing is falling apart. Again, war. The poor, innocent people of Ukraine, who are brothers and sisters. The Slavic people who, the word slave come from Slav. So the Slavic people from way in the Asian Sea have been enslaved. Why we see even some of the color change in the Middle East and these things was the importation of Slavic peoples for hundreds of years. And now people of Ukraine, hundreds of thousands have died in this war. From all sides, it looked like Ukraine is on the verge of collapse under the onslaught. And, it has come out that NATO, all of these people have forces in there. So the collective West has been funding, training, going against Russia, which has been backed by, they tried to collapse Russia's economy, which pushed Russia and China together. Russia is now leading with China, and you have the BRICS. So the whole world order shift east. The US used its currency as a punishment to collapse Russia. And what happened was that instead of collapsing Russia, it made Russia stronger, because they froze over 300 billion Russian dollars. But guess what happened now? Russia started sell all of its oil and gas. There was an allegation that the Nord Stream pipeline, which was a Russian pipeline supplying Europe, was destroyed purposely by the West. But guess what happened now? Russia now starts sell all of its oil and gas to BRICS countries, China and India. India in particular take up a whole portion of Russian energy. Russian economy a boom. Russia restarted its military industrial complex, so them have job. Their economy did the opposite of what the West thought. So what this did was accelerate what was happening already, which was the de-dollarization, people moving away from the US dollar. But by the US putting sanction on Russia, what they did now was tell people that we use our currency as a weapon, and the US dollar has underpinned global trade. You hear about the petrodollar and these things. China just did a deal with Saudi Arabia that they buy oil in the yuan, which is the Chinese currency. So the economic superpower of the West slowly going down. The price of gold is rising. These are things we can talk about more in depth again on the Patreon. But this is the stuff I love. I watch all day and see different side. I look at the liberal, I look at the conservative, I look at the independent, and then I make sense out of everything that is happening and form my own opinion, because right now the propaganda is at an all-time high on all sides. So that's number two, the war in Ukraine, the war in Eastern Europe. Again, these are signs and wonders of the decline of the West. And if you notice, every problem that the West have is war. And if you're a student of history like myself, you know anytime a leadership solve every problem with war, it's when the fall is about to happen. We even saw that in Ethiopia. I wrote about it in Haile Selassie's Ethiopia, the rise of the priestly warrior kings, when I wrote about Emperor Tewodros, who never lost a fight on the battlefield, but yet still couldn't keep the kingdom together. Every time people rise up, him go out there and stamp it out militarily, and yet still couldn't keep hold of the empire. Because diplomacy, and this is why His Majesty always was using diplomacy as a first, second, third option, because guess what happened? You cannot sustain with war, and His Majesty spoke, Empress Menen spoke out against war. I always say here, His Majesty took a militant stand for peace. He could have crushed the Derg like an insect, like a roach, up until the last moments, but he chose to mediate, negotiate, dress up in him khaki suit and sit down, listen to these impetulant young people who he had seen growing from they were in diaper, come try to tell him how to run government when the government was on his shoulder. The humility in just listen and say, I'm not going to be the cause of the shedding and spilling of Ethiopian blood. That was a command to I to stop the cycle. Shiloh means peace on earth, and we saw it manifest in a man. So you can't tell I anything right now. We're here to rebuild and to do the healing part. This war that's coming, the global war, because it's going to be war in all regions, civil war in places. It's not I war, you know, and this is why Rastafari is loved by all sides, because they know we stand for love, and I have to build. While Babylon is destroying itself, I mission is to build and to be that bridge and that gumminess, that glue that brings together the African continent. And we're going to get to the African continent rising. But number three reason that Africa is rising and Babylon is falling is the rise of BRICS. What is BRICS? BRICS stand for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Recently expand to include Egypt, Ethiopia as the African countries, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, oil producing countries. You know what I mean? So bloc expanded. It's a serious alternative now to having to seek loans from the World Bank, IMF, the Western global order, who used to use manipulation to open people markets, push a lot of social, cultural reforms, undercut local agriculture, these things. Now, countries have an option. They can go to BRICS. BRICS as a non-interventionist policy. Most of these nations, you know, the global south, they call themselves, don't deal with anything. Now, it's a good and a bad, because the bad thing about that is corruption. You know, the leaders who get the money from BRICS or these BRICS countries, China and these things, China now tell you how to spend it. So if you embezzle all of the money, you're a problem. China now tell you how to spend it. Them just a give to you. However, they're not meddling in the internal affairs. Now, that's not to say they're not spies, espionage, things are going on. We saw that the AU headquarters was bugged from head to toe. China look advantage. Of course, they have their self-interest. We're not naive to any BRICS. We're not aligned as Rastafari. So when we analyze, we're not right, we're not left, we're not communists, we're not capitalists. We take the best of everything and create Zion on earth. That is His Majesty's example. Moral theocracy, reign, order. You know what I mean? His Majesty at the head, which is where we get the theocracy. And the morality is we must become members of a new race, owing allegiance not to nation states, but to our fellow brothers and sisters within humanity. So that's the moral part. So it's just really for I and I overstand that the alternative, I always talk about the alternative. If we don't have an alternative to Babylon, we will go down with Babylon. BRICS provides a financial alternative. We have the oil, we have the minerals, we have the infrastructure development. All of that is encapsulated in BRICS. You don't have to go west anymore. But you can still go west. So you have competition. Other ones would argue that it's clear that the West cannot compete with what they bring to the table. You know, they're coming lecturing people about LGBTQ in your country, as opposed to BRICS coming with, we'll build you a road, a bridge, a dam, a power plant. You know what I mean? So when you weigh and balance, this is one of the reasons why Babylon is falling. And again, don't get me wrong, there's Babylon in BRICS too, because we're not taking sides, but we're just saying these are signs. Because when you look at how China governed their country during COVID, you know, they had already gone mark of the beast, overdrive, social control, all of these things, you know, USSR, certain things, we're not going to love it. So, but in terms of Africa and the development, having these options gives us some type of freedom from the shackles of the former colonial masters. So, the rise of BRICS, third sign. Number 4 is the inflation. You know, that we see the loss of value in the dollar, the price of gold continuing to escalate as people look for stable commodities to put their capital. You know, everybody, all of the central banks are buying gold. If you look at the price of gold right now, it skyrocket. That shows this is something that's going on. People are getting ready for this war. And there's going to be certain countries whose economies collapse completely. America cannot afford a war right now, but you know, you have ones pushing it. Right now, America should be using its culture, its soft power, to reestablish its dominance. You know, America has the ability to do that because America has a distinct advantage in that, you know, it's a really global country. We have the best and the brightest in America from all over the world. So on paper, America should be able to compete in any area. However, greediness is sinking in with the West, the hubris. You know, we've seen it with the Roman Empire, we saw it with the Persian Empire, we see it with, you know, I just saw empire thing go. So we're watching that, but the again, the loss of value of the Western dollars is a sign that Babylon is falling. And this is why also those of us who still are in the West, or like myself back and forth, it's very important that we use the dollar now, put it together with each other and purchase physical assets, whether it be land, whether it be investing in farms, agro-business, things that are going to prepare us to weather the storm that's coming. We need to aggregate and come together. This is the mission that I and I have been on, that we have been working on, trying to be like ants in the summertime, preparing for the winter. Working diligently, but that's what we should be doing right now, because the day will come when the dollar will lose a lot of value and be worthless. Before World War II, the German Deutschmark was worthless. People had it in a wheelbarrow. You know, when Hitler came to power in the 1930s, right around the coronation, Black King come, Babylon economy collapsed. as people think Armageddon and all these things. They're not going to tell you that part. But we know as Rastafari, we look into the thing. 1930 was Great Depression. Why? Again, His Majesty coming onto the throne, Africa rising. And there was so much sabotage that happened. The Beast Made War. Right after that, 1935, the nation conspired to get him off of the throne. All of these things happen, and again, we won't go too deep into it. We touch all of them things there. We're gonna do some regular videos on what's happening, where we can talk more freely on the Patreon. And then number 5 is the moral decline. When you look at the music culture in America, a bare slackness. There's no balance, and decadence is a sure sign of collapse. When a society is rising, music is hopeful, it's full of life, it's child friendly, because children, when you invest in children, you invest in the future. Right now, nobody not think about no youth. It's adult fun time, meaning that you not think about the future, meaning that you're in collapse. All right. We're at 30 minutes already, so I'm gonna do this video in 2 parts. This is gonna be why Babylon falling. I'm gonna do part 2 to show why Africa is rising. Do you agree with I and I? Do you think that Babylon is indeed following? Am I overreacting? Is the Ras talking foolishness? Drop a comment. Let's have the conversation. And if you love this type of content, let I and I know and join the Patreon. Let us have that conversation. I would love to build with like-minded ones who see what's happening and how we can strategize and pool resources and come together to ensure that when this collapse, this Armageddon happens, I and I have this network and we know what's going on and we can utilize each other's skills and so forth and so on. So again, we're going to build that in the Patreon. I'm getting ready to bring forward Lion Love, more from the sister in them, relationships. We're getting ready to start a brand new program called Creative Culture. We're going to be interviewing ones from the creative industry, going wider, things not necessarily Rastafari content, but dealing with the creative industry. I'm a creative industry attorney. I do creative industry consultations. So I want to bring that, because most Rastas are creatives anyhow. So we can benefit from seeing what other creatives out there are doing. And I have big names that I am connected to behind the scenes that, they don't fit into any other programs necessarily. I was doing some of them on Lion Talk, but Lion Talk, I like to talk to I and I Rastafari, Panafrican, and keep the conversations in that vein. So starting a new program, Creative Culture, where we're going to just talk to straight creatives, all genres, executives, music industry people, business people. So stay tuned for that. We're just getting started, people. I keep telling the item this. Spread the word. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a brethren, to tell a brethren that the Lions are telling our own story. And this is Lion Voice.
Lion Voice. Yeah. I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces. Good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth. Worldwide. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine ready to bust. Armageddon things get dangerous. alone in the ghetto, things get dangerous. On the battlefield, things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem, to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scanned and lost. Them put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones that push. Just look into them history, see we rebellious. That's cause them systems so unjust. Take the shackles and chains, change them to handcuffs. Release your physical frame, them want your brain. Them a vampire looking for blood to drain. Haile, Selassie come and break every chain. Bob Marley, tell them, now we tell them again, yo. We tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, but this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, but this a time for African people to rise. I tell them, earthquake, hurricane, tornado, the wind blows and bring the rains. I got the whole west coast in flames, melt the Arctic poles and flood the seas. Hurricane force winds blow down the trees, whole earth feel the pain when the bombs release. Read your psalms, release David prophecies. Marcus Garvey said look to the east. Rastafari is the prince of peace, and Haile Selassie I come conquer the beast, yo. They trap the youths with them luxuries to get the ladies. Gotta drive Mercedes, people killing babies, try to keep us down with AIDS. We descended from kings, now we surround with plague. Man, I kill them brother, man, to drive the Escalades. I can't stand Babylon and all the mess they made. Teach the youths that them best when them rest in the grave. Wolf trick the lion, got the lion a shade. Can't reach Mount Zion unless you learn to behave. Got to stand firm, cause these is perilous days. I tell them, we tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, but this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, but this a time for African people to rise. I tell them